Hi folks, welcome to Tweeter's Tech. Today we are going to be talking about whether it's worth upgrading from the Odin 2 to the Odin 2 Portal. Under the spec, they are the same. Same processor, same RAM. However, the Pro model of the Portal comes with 512 gigabytes as opposed to 256 on the Odin 2. When you go onto the website, I think there's a difference of £80 when you compare both Pro models. So it's up to you whether you think you're getting more for your buck there. I think it's pretty good value for money. But the main features are going to be the OLED screen, which is also an inch bigger from 6 to 7 inches. We've got the OLED screen and it's got the up to 120 hertz frame rate as well. So, you know, I don't know whether the video does really show, because obviously when I upload this to YouTube, it might not, you know, you probably downscale it and you might not be able to tell. From my opinion, you know, you have to take my word for it. I've got both the brightness set on the same levels. The display is obviously a lot more dominant than this basic model. And this was fine. This absolutely did the job. This was everyone's go-to device. Going back, I originally had the original Odin device and I sold it a few months later because it had its restrictions and I knew Odin 2 was coming out with a more advanced processor. But I was late to the game. I waited 6-7 months until that was out, and I don't know, everyone was talking about the Portal and it got my attention, but I had my reservations about it. I was worried about the glass panel, the fingerprints. I was worried about the size, you know, would it still be portable? Because I've never wanted a pocketable device. You know, I was happy to kind of, you know, have that compromise. I just wanted something that I could carry around in my bag. So devices like Steam Decks and all the other handheld PCs were never really something that appealed to me. I'm not a PC gamer per se. I'm more into my Android as well as emulation. So these are the kind of devices that appeal to me. But moving forward, I did eventually get the Odin 2. You can see I've got a customized one that someone else did on Reddit. They had the white model and got the black buttons and swapped them around. Got some Skull and Co grips on here. Absolutely love this device because there were no fingerprints. I love the color, you know, quite a subtle look. Had no issues with it. But, you know, I've been tempted by the Portal quite a lot. And I have to say, I have thoroughly enjoyed using this device. You can see I've got the grip on here at the moment. Since I've put it on, I haven't even taken it off because it really adds great ergonomics. It was fine before. I'd say maybe the Odin 2 has slightly better ergonomics. But this grip has such good texture. It's really firm. This is the official Odin one. I can't imagine taking it off, to be honest. And I don't really have an issue with fingerprints because I just keep my hands clean, really. I don't eat when I'm playing with this. You know, as long as you wash your hands, dry your hands, and, you know, you're not getting sweaty, it's all good. But, you know, you've always got a cloth close behind. So it's never really been an issue for me. I quite like the way the blacks blend in when the games are playing. You know, for instance, taking Beacon Launcher, I've done a video on this recently. I feel the colours just pop so much, especially with the blacks blending into the display. Everything just looks perfect, really. I don't know what more to say. It is a stunning display. I'm someone like myself that's in their mid-40s. My vision's not as good. I do wear glasses, but I'm not struggling to wear or play games on the xCloud. I can play games. I can see smaller fonts. It really makes a difference. Definitely appeals to the older gamer. In terms of portability, it's still there. Yes, it's wider, but it's actually the same measurements and depth, just slightly higher maybe. But it's still portable. Neither of these devices are pocketable. I recommend it. You know, if you've got even a a Pro or a Max model, I think it's still worth the upgrade. And even if you've got something older, you'll definitely notice the jump. One thing with these kind of devices with high refresh rates, especially phones, when you go on a phone that's got an adaptive refresh rate, you go back to a device that's got 60 hertz, you really notice the difference. You know, you can still use them, but you suddenly turn into a refresh rate snob and you can't go back. And that's something I'd sort of bear in mind. But, you know, I feel that this device is a more premium device. It's appealed to that more premium market. This is the, you know, the better all-rounder, I guess, and it does the job. It's not like this can play games that this can't. It just looks better. Some people may disagree with my preference when it comes to playing retro games, because most people do prefer that 4.3 aspect ratio. And you might not be happy with this, but you can see I've stretched the screen to a 16.9, or I can't remember if it was just filling the display. But for me personally, when it blends in with the blacks, I think that looks better for me. You're really taking advantage of the screen estate. Why limit it to a 4.3? As long as it doesn't look too disproportionate, I think why not? And it is a personal preference, but for me personally, I'm not going to play well. I'm just trying to concentrate on this a little bit. But I just want to show you what it looks like for the, the oldest of games. I'm not going to bother showing you the new games because you know they're going to pop. But for these devices, most of us are going to be using it to play retro games as well as modern day AAA games. Oops. But I just wanted to kind of show you what that looks like. So I'm not going to go through loads of games. I don't have any ROMs in this one because I've transferred my memory card onto that one, so can't really compare. But you just have to take my word for it. It looks stunning. Everything looks vibrant. The battery's still pretty good. Just to sum up, you are getting the same device under the hood, but the screen is bigger by an inch. You've got the 120 Hertz. You've got the OLED panel. You do get more storage internally. Rather than a 256, you get 512, which is great. It's worth the upgrade. If you're thinking about it, if you're unsure, get this grip and you will not regret it. That's all I have to say on the matter. Thanks for tuning in today. Stay tuned to my next video. I'll see you soon.